This is Tori Massey, who is facing charges for possession of a dangerous weapon and death of a police animal. 30-year-old Massey shot Dingo, a police's 7-year-old service dog, to death as a means of escape. On July 16, 2017, Massey was wanted for theft, robbery, and aggravated assault, but tried to run away from the police. During the car chase, Massey fired several shots at the K9 officer and left the dog with critical wounds. The officers took Dingo to an animal hospital immediately, where he was eventually pronounced dead. Massey was captured and taken into the custody of the U.S. Marshals. This crime caused a lot of pain to the Unified Police Department, especially the dog's handler, Chad Reyes. In court, Reyes had the chance to express his wishes for Massey.
Hearing the gunshots, then feeling the extreme panic as I continued to sprint, having Dingo rush to my side with his mouth wide open as he was desperately trying to draw breath. The instant and overwhelming grief that consumed me when I saw Dingo slip into unconsciousness. While I was holding his blood-soaked body in my arms. No matter what the difficulty in my life, Dingo had an amazing ability to fill my soul as well. He's incapable of compassion or empathy. To achieve his objectives, he will deceive, victimize, or destroy anything in his way. Tori Massey must understand some of his days in prison are being served solely for taking the life of my best friend.
Chad Reyes pleaded with the judge to give the most severe sentence to Massey, but the 30-year-old also had a plea to make.
I understand that I got to pay for what I did, but I would like to apologize to Chad Reyes. I took his friend, his partner.
After getting a plea from both parties, this was what the judge had to say.
Given what you have done in your life, you need to be in custody.
Having this whole process concluded is helpful for me. I feel like his apology was very feigned and just another way for him to try and get something for himself. It's a hole that will never be filled. They're invaluable creatures and irreplaceable.
Judge Paul Parker sentenced Massey to 11 years behind bars at the Utah State Prison. The defendant in the next case even got more years for killing a K9. This is Jamal Pakel, who is awaiting trial for killing a police dog, armed carjacking, and 2 counts of kidnapping. On September 30th, 2018, Jamal carjacked 2 women at a gas station on Lem Turner Road and made one of them drive at gunpoint. The police tracked the vehicle and shut off the engine. Immediately the car stopped. Jamal bailed out of the car and took off on foot with K9 Fang in pursuit. During the pursuit, Jamal fired 3 shots at the dog, which left a chest wound on the dog and led to his death. Jamal was eventually captured in the woods and arraigned in court. During the trial, Officer Matt Herrera, the handler of the K9, narrated what went down at the scene.
2 gunshots back to back, a yelp from my dog, and then a 3rd gunshot quickly after that. And I tried to call him to me, which he would come every single time. But this time he didn't budge because he was dead.
Before the sentencing, the 17-year-old also made a request before the judge.
All I ask today, Your Honor, is for a second shot at life. And I hope that everyone can find it in their hearts to forgive me.
Jamal asked for forgiveness, but this couldn't stop the judge from reading his sentence. The judge sentenced the 17-year-old to 25 years in prison with 10 years of probation. This is Christian Moreno and Abilene Schneider, the couple facing charges for attack by dog resulting in death. In February 2023, the couple's pit bulls got out of their yard from a hole in the fence. The dogs were not wearing collars or harnesses, disregarding the Animal Control Services requirement. The pit bulls mauled and killed 81-year-old Ramon Najera and seriously injured his wife. The firefighters at the scene had to use pickaxes to get the dogs away from the victim. During the trial, Najera's widow took the stand in an emotional state to express the grief that had been caused to her.
My name is Juanita G. Nájera. I'm the widow of Ramon Nájera. I would have never imagined that I would be calling myself a widow at this time of my life and in this tragic way. PTSD is now something I will have to deal with the rest of my life. Extreme loneliness and emptiness will also be a part of my life. You both took a big part of my my life away. You took my better half away. When my husband was brutally and unexpectedly taken from me, I was blessed to have my daughter, Anna. She lives here in San Antonio. She took me into her home and took care of me. She would help me bathe. She would feed me, take me to my appointments. And you know why I needed all that help? Because when your dog attacked me, I could hardly walk. My whole body would tremble. I could hardly get out of bed without any help. I had to have help every day. My son, Carlos, a retired Marine, he had to put his life on hold. His family, he had to come down and take care of me. All my financial needs, he helped me with everything. He also provided meals for me. To this day, my daughter Anna, she's still helping me. And my son, even if he's in San Diego, he calls me. He calls me every day to find out how I'm doing. It's been hard for me to depend on their help for whatever I need, from going to court, doctor's appointments, and other needs. My son's in California, he still calls me and keeps in touch with me. It's been hard for me. I found myself feeling so depressed and weak when they had to leave me. I remember saying goodbye to my son when he left, and I held on to him, and I cried, and it broke his heart to leave me behind. But he had a family to take care of and a job, and being with me 2 months he took off to be with me. My daughter Lily, she also took part. She took care of me. She would clean my house. My son Ramon, he would take care of the yard for me. All of them, during this critical time, have helped me so much. All of them have felt the stress that you guys caused on us. And you already got your sentencing, but you have left an everlasting impact in our lives. You took my husband's life. I feel that you are serving what you deserve for the crime you committed. Indirectly, it happened, but you could have prevented it. You could have done something. You could have realized that those dogs needed to be put down. And I think you got the adequate punishment. And right now, there's somebody that should be sitting right there next to you guys. And it should be the city. The city should be there sitting next to you guys because they are guilty too. And I'm glad that Judge Mesa, I know that the Lord was with you when you made this decision, and it was hard for you too. But I thank you.
According to report, Moreno and Schneider have been breeding and training the dogs to be aggressive with meat. Just like the widow, Judge Velia Meza believed the incident could have been prevented, and she proceeded to hand down their punishment.
Mr. Moreno, Ms. Schneider, this is about responsible dog ownership. It involves not only taking care of your dog, but ensuring the safety of the people in our neighborhoods, in our communities, not only the people, but other pets in the neighborhood and communities. We all have that responsibility to each other, and you failed at that. Mr. Moreno, it is the order of the court that you will be sentenced to 18 years confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Institutional Division. There is a $5,000 fine, no restitution. The victim has not requested restitution. You are prohibited from owning or possessing any dogs if you make parole on this case. This is a plea bargain case. However, you have the right to appeal the rulings of the court on a pretrial order. Ms. Schneider, your sentence is 15 years confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Institutional Division. There is a $5,000 fine, no restitution because Ms. Nájera does not want it. You too are prohibited from owning or possessing any dogs if you make parole. Both of you are also ordered to have no contact with Depla Street and Darby Street. Yours is also a plea bargain case. However, you have the right to appeal the rulings, pretrial rulings of the court. Do we have any impact statements?
We do, Your Honor.
Line them all up, and let's get started. You're remanded to the custody of the sheriff to begin your sentence.
Christian Moreno was sentenced to 18 years in prison, and Abilene Schneider was given to 15 years in prison. The both were given a combined fine of $10,000. This is Joshua Boyer, who is currently facing charges of animal cruelty in the North County Courthouse. The 31-year-old killed at least 10 cats in 2019. In May 2019, San Diego Humane Law Enforcement investigated Boyer after the tracker on a missing cat named Leonard led to him. The missing cat led to the discovery of 10 deceased animals and other partial remains that were found on Boyer's property. Boyer used social media to gain the trust of pet owners looking to find new homes for their cats. Humane officers seized more than 125 pieces of evidence, including tools to inflict harm on the animals. During the trial, owners of the cat who were killed and other animal lovers filled the courtroom. Some of the victims took the witness stand to express their grief towards the incident.
Evidence in Joshua Boyer's sheds included cats with needles stuck into them like pin cushions, cats attached to car batteries and electrocuted, cats used as target practice with crossbows, cats chopped into bits with a machete, cats zip-tied to cages outside and left to die a slow and painful death in the heat without shade, water, or food.
I have had nightmares since then of what happened, and I can't believe somebody could do such horrible things to animals, and I will live with the guilt of trusting him and handing my cats over to him for the rest of my life.
Despite the multiple pieces of evidence, Boyer's attorney told the judge her client suffered from mental illness and was depressed over problems with his wife. Before the sentencing, the 31-year-old also had something to say.
I acted out in stupid ways that it's literally the biggest regret I'll ever have. And I'm extremely sorry for all the people whose pets that I have hurt.
Boyer tendered his apology to the court and was sentenced to 8 years in prison. This is Radoslaw Cherkowski, who is facing charges of 12 counts of animal cruelty. 36-year-old Radoslaw reportedly abused his puppy badly, such that it had to be euthanized. In 2013, Radoslaw's 1-year-old female pit bull was found in a local park with fractures, a stab wound, and a split tongue. The starving dog, popularly known as Puppy Doe, gained the attention of animal activists across the country, and the dog owner was charged at court. During the trial, the defense attorney argued that his client wasn't the person who abused the dog. After hours of deliberation in court, the judge came to a conclusion.
Having been found guilty of indictment number 2013-1094, offense 1, charging you with animal cruelty, in consideration of your offense, the court sentences you to be imprisoned at the Massachusetts Correctional Institution at Cedar Junction for a term of not more than 5 years, not less than 4 years. Having been found guilty of offense 3, charging you with animal cruelty, in consideration of this offense, the court sentences you to be imprisoned at the Massachusetts Correctional Institution at Cedar Junction for a term of not more than 5 years, not less than 4 years, to run from and after offense 001. Having been found guilty of offenses 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, each charging you with animal cruelty. In consideration of these offenses, the court sentences you to be imprisoned at the Massachusetts Correctional Institution at Cedar Junction for a term of not more than 5 years, not less than 4 years, to run concurrent with offense 003. Having been found guilty of offense 2, charging you with animal cruelty, in consideration of this offense, the court places you on probation for a term of 2 years, beginning from and after your release from the sentence imposed on offense 3. As special conditions of your probation, you are to not possess, no possession, custody, control, ownership, or contact with any dog, cat, horse, or other animal. You may not work or volunteer where animals are present. You may not participate in any program within any institution or elsewhere involving any contact with any dog, cat, horse, or other non-human animal. You are ordered to stay away, have no contact, direct or indirect, in writing or otherwise, with any witness, including relatives of Janina Stock or a prior owner of the dog, any veterinarian, police, or animal welfare officer involved in this matter. You have deemed to have served 104 days of the sentence. There is a victim witness fee of $90 that is imposed. You are notified of your obligation to submit to DNA sampling. You are notified of your right to appeal the convictions pursuant to Rule 65. You are notified of your right to appeal the sentence pursuant to Rule 64. And you stand committed, sir.
Radoslaw Cherkowski was sentenced to 8 to 10 years in prison and also required to serve 2 years of probation following his release. He may never own, care for, or come in contact with any animal. This is Jason Brown, who is awaiting trials for torturing and dismembering 7 dogs. In July 2024, Brown was arrested at a hotel in Reno. Animal control found dead dogs and parts of dead dogs throughout the room where he was staying. Brown had been responding to local Craigslist ads, offering to take dogs and puppies whom people were giving away for free. He also promised to give them good homes, but little did they know the 25-year-old was torturing and dismembering the dogs. In 2015, Brown was sentenced to 28 years in prison with the possibility of parole after 11 years. After less than 8 years, the Reno man requested parole, and this was what he had to say about his actions.
Every day I've spent in prison, and prison is where I needed to be over these years. I admit that my crime was cruel and disgusting, and it shows me how mentally sick I was at the time of my arrest.
Despite regretting his actions, the parole board denied his early release, and he will not be eligible for another hearing until April 2025.